Coming up tonight on YCN News, a house in Newport has been almost completely destroyed by a fire. Vermont will raise its minimum wage starting tomorrow. And Vermont police seek information regarding a recent rash of burglaries. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday, New Year's Eve edition of YCN News. I'm Laura James. The work to pinpoint how a fire started in a home on Church Street in Newport, New Hampshire continues. Yesterday morning's fire at 68 Church Street left the home unable to be lived in due to damage. The fire may have been due to an electrical problem that started in the basement. An investigator working on behalf of an insurance company was on the scene today, yet declined comment, referring questions to the Newport Fire Chief, Wayne Conroy. Now, Church Street is a dead-end street that abuts a cemetery. Homeowners Marilyn Bullis and Ted Saxton were not home at the time of the fire, but neighbors alerted first responders around 9:46 a.m. of smoke pouring out of a first-floor window, according to Conroy. The 2.5-story home is assessed at $111,300, reported the Eagle Times. It took until 11:45 a.m. for the fire to be declared under control. By 12:06 p.m., the home was handed back to Bullis and Sexton. That means the couple must notify the insurer of the fire and begin the discovery process of fire cause and damage repair as well. Mutual aid from Leominster, Claremont, Sunapee, New London, and Goshen assisted the Newport Fire Department. Meanwhile, the Croydon and Newberry Fire Departments manned the Newport Fire Station, ready to handle any other calls for service. The power source leading into the house was shut off by PSNH. The home is insured, fire officials say. Fire Chief Wayne Conroy encourages anyone with questions or information regarding the fire to please call him at 603-863-1416. Good news for Vermont workers. The state's minimum wage will rise to $9.15 beginning tomorrow. The current rate is $8.73. Now, the rate increase will increase steadily over the next 3 years after lawmakers approved a plan. Governor Peter Shumlin signed the legislation into law. In 2016, the hourly wage will rise to $9.60, to $10 in 2017, and to $10.50 in 2018. Shumlin says today that increasing the minimum wage will help drive increased economic activity that will benefit the state's economy. Elsewhere in New England, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island's minimum wage will each rise to $9 per hour next year. Connecticut's minimum wage will also rise to $9.15 per hour. Maine and New Hampshire's minimum wage remains the same. Maine's hourly wage is $7.50. New Hampshire does not now have its own state minimum wage. It relies on the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. Work continues on the Farmer Earlington Sample Book Building in Newport, New Hampshire, as the historic site becomes new retail space. As earlier told to YCN News by Newport Planning and Zoning Administrator Julie Magnuson, plans for the site are welcome news to the downtown area. Now, the first floor of 20 South Main Street will house a 44-seat Dunkin' Donut shop. Plans are still underway and call for the second floor to be built by the buyer's choice. As Magnuson told us in June, the renovations are on target to match the former Sample Book Building's exterior look. What will change is the site's front entrance. An arched steel canopy will be the focal point of the door that leads into the building. A new parking lot is under construction, making it easier for off-street parking to grab the quick caffeinated pick-me-up. Also, the renovated building will be set back from the street more than it was once before, all adding to the appearance. The building is zoned for industrial use. Now, from the 1890s throughout the 20th century, additions to the building created a larger working space, but not a visually pleasing one. That will change once the building is completed this spring. Permits for ongoing construction are a benefit to the town as well. As of June, $760,000 was paid to the town for work permits. YCN News will follow the developments of this building along with this city's retail landscape. Turning again to Vermont, state police are asking the public's help in finding who broke into several homes along Auger Hole Road in Marlborough. Now, police say the victims found their homes had been broken into and reported firearms and cash had been stolen. It's believed the incidents occurred during the early morning hours. Those with any information are encouraged to contact Trooper Dan Bennett at the Brattleboro Barracks. Their number is 802-254-2382. When YCN News returns, we'll bring you more news for the final day of 2014.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. At 6 a.m. this morning, New Zealand welcomed the new year with a massive fireworks display. And while we had single digits in many areas across the Twin State region, it was 66 degrees there. But chilly temperatures never dampen celebrations here. New Year's Eve activities abound across Vermont and New Hampshire, from the seacoast with first night celebrations in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to first night up in Burlington, Vermont. In fact, Yankee Magazine reports the very first festival for first night took place in Boston back in 1975, organized by a small group of artists who wanted a way to celebrate the new year by staging indoor and outdoor performances in an alcohol-free environment. The event was a huge success, and the first night movement soon caught on and spread to dozens of other cities. But first night is not the only option. Restaurants, ski resorts, local organizations and clubs, and just good old-fashioned gatherings with family, neighbors, and friends are all taking place this evening. And it's not too late if you're looking to head out. Now here's one you'll like if you're early to bed and have little ones. From 7 to 8:30 this evening, Stratton Mountain Resort in Londonderry, Vermont is holding a family-friendly New Year's Eve celebration. They'll be making festive keepsakes as souvenirs of New Year's Eve. There's face painting and lots of kids' activities. All ages are invited to attend. No reservations are necessary. And of course, a favorite of many, you can see a slopeside torchlight parade from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. also at Stratton. Just one of the many events across Vermont and New Hampshire ski areas. For example, Mount Sunapee Ski Area in Newberry, New Hampshire will have early fireworks at 9 p.m. Okemo Mountain Resort in Ludlow, Vermont is also holding a family-friendly New Year's Eve celebration this evening. And speaking of celebrations, this one's a big one we reported on earlier in the week. Claremont, New Hampshire is ringing in 2015 with celebrations of their 250th birthday. There's townwide activities for the whole family. You can get details at ClaremontNH.com. And regardless of how you spend New Year's Eve, definitely dress in layers for those chilly temperatures. And as always, leave extra travel time for the holiday. Meanwhile, the New Hampshire Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management is getting a new assistant director. Perry Plummer announced the appointment of Jennifer Harper to this post. Harper brings more than 2 decades of experience, an invaluable level of understanding and knowledge, and an unparalleled work ethic to the position, says Plummer. She has proven her leadership ability time and time again. It's clearly the correct choice to serve as the assistant director. Harper has 30 years of experience in state government, with 23 of those in emergency management. Most recently, she served as the HSEM operations chief, responsible for coordinating the state's response to emergencies, and as the state's liaison and U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Harper is also an adjunct professor with Plymouth State University's Criminal Justice Department. There is an honor and a privilege, according to Harper. She stated that recently. When YCN News returns, we'll look at my interview with Jacob Stout of Echo Communications.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Let's find out how the weather's looking for this New Year's Eve. Our forecast predicts mostly cloudy skies tonight, with temperatures dropping down to 11 degrees. For the first day of the new year, skies are expected to become partly sunny and temperatures should reach up to about 24. Friday will also be partly sunny with temperatures reaching 28 degrees. On our YCN community calendar, don't forget to check out the contra dance that's happening tonight in Norwich, Vermont, all to celebrate the new year. It begins at 8 p.m. and runs until 1 a.m. The event will take place on 300 Main Street. Visit ycnnow.com/calendar for more information. Turning to YCN Sports, we have the results from last night's game of girls basketball. Fall Mountain and Conant faced off in an intense matchup. Conant had the edge, however, defeating Fall Mountain 63-49. When we return, we'll join John O'Connor and Lisa Cannell for a segment on This Year in Review.
The YCN News continues in a moment.